Hello everybody and welcome to another Stellaris video. Today I wanted to share with you guys the Red Giant Origin, one of my absolute favorites I have ever played in Stellaris. It is super fun, both event-wise and also because it is one of the best Unity rushes in the entire game. Here's a test run where I speedran to complete 4 tradition trees, and as you can see, I completed 4 entire tradition trees by year 13 in the game. Having played this forward, but I forgot to make a save, I managed to finish my 5th tradition tree by just year 20, meaning we could have been a fully ascended empire with an extra tradition tree at just year 20. Absolute insanity, and this is on 1.0x Unity cost as well. Now, how is this done? Basically, this works because of Death Cult and Fire Cult put together, 2 Unity boosting civics that make for a really efficient Unity pop job. As you can see, we're getting 28 Unity per 100 pops on these cremator jobs. In addition, as our capital loses habitability due to the expanding red giant in the middle of our system, you get extra Unity, and this origin is just chock full of different events that continue to give you Unity throughout the game. For example, if we scroll to the bottom of our situation log here, one of the events you get, the triangulation, when you complete that, it gives 2 years worth of Unity production, and if you're producing 1,000 Unity when you finish this, it would drop a whopping 40 to 50,000 Unity, which is what I got from this. This next objective here, board the station, let's quickly go ahead and do this. Let's go to fastest until we get the ground army here, and then let's send it to go do the special project here, research project, start time, and let it go do that. It should finish very soon here, and we speak to the survivors in 15 days. Let's wait 15 days, and we get another injection of Unity. I believe this is just under a year's worth of Unity, or just over a year's worth of Unity. I have no idea how much, but that's another 19,000 Unity, and these enormous Unity injections are how we're able to, even with a completely collapsing economy, still manage to finish 5 tradition trees by year 20. So what I've decided to do a kind of for fun build with this is I'm going to try to place psionic robots that aren't shroud forged for no reason at all on the Red Giant Origin, just because I think it would be fun. While our species might be a little bit misnamed, here's the build we're going to be using. Also, I realize I probably shouldn't have research assistants. Let's go ahead and change that over to something more appropriate. Anything here that boosts bureaucrat jobs, yes sir. Art director. So this is the basic species template we're going to be using, and Death Cult and Fire Cult together are going to be the bread and butter of the Unity production. Here are the galaxy settings I'm using. In fact, we can turn on Iron Man mode for this, because I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to ascend into psionics before year 25 at least, if we get all the build orders right. So there are a lot of details when playing this build, which is why I really enjoy it, and maximizing these things will make a huge difference in the overall performance of the build. So the absolute first thing we're going to need to do is get 400 minerals, and then we're going to use these 400 minerals to immediately start building temples. We can also disable the holo theater. Then we want to go look for our leaders, and what we're checking for is any leaders that boost building speed. Unfortunately, we don't get a single leader that would help us build faster, which is a little bit unfortunate, but sometimes you get them, and that's quite helpful. We're not very lucky this run. That's okay. You don't get lucky every run. So this run will definitely be a little bit tougher than some of the ones I've done so far. I think another thing we can do here is, I don't really want to get rid of consumer goods or alloys. We need a lot of both. So we're just going to wait for 100 minerals. Actually, goodbye consumer goods. Let's buy 100 minerals so we can immediately start building these star bases as well. 10 minerals is an amazing deposit. 5 alloys is an equally amazing deposit. We want to get those exploited right away, and we can also send out our first ship. Now, here is where playing this build gets really funky, is you want to get the maximum amount of Unity out of every event. In case you're unaware how events that give out resources work, is they actually scale based on the production of that resource. For example, we checked this earlier, it was something like 490, and just by turning on these edicts, this is now going to give us 772 Unity. But what if we're a little bit patient, and we wait for a couple temples to build, and then activate this choice after that. What's going to happen is we're going to get even more unity, and it turns out there's a maximum cap for this event of 2,000. As I play through the build, since I'm not an expert on this came out just a couple days ago, and I haven't had the most time to play, I don't know the exact cap for every unity, although I will have a link to the wiki, so in case you want to check and min-max every little aspect, you can go ahead and do that. But you can leave these pop-ups open and essentially wait until you're producing more unity to activate them. For example, this is now going to give us 1,320 unity when we activate it, the Habitable World Survey. I don't know if this even has a cap for the Habitable World Survey, but if it does, we're certainly not going to actually reach the cap. But I find that these event pop-ups disappear after like 3 years-ish. I don't know the exact amount of time. Once again, I haven't had time to really research these exact numbers, but I typically want to click them after we build a couple buildings extra, because otherwise we risk them despawning and auto selecting into an option that we didn't want. So in the meantime, we're going to have to play this really wonky moving the tabs around to try to hide things so that I can actually play the game and explore the galaxy as well. Yeah, what we're going to do here in the early game is we're just going to send out 3 science ships just to go survey. You're going to need a lot of science ships to play this build anyway, so might as well get science ships. Dipping mercantile seems crazy because we're not really playing a trade build, but we need to. And the main reason for doing that is we need to get as much minerals, energy, and other resources from star bases as possible, as the economy of this build is absolutely brutal in the mid game, especially with consumer goods, and especially without a particularly good governor leader. I'm a bit worried about this, to be honest. I know there are some Unity leaders here, but at just 5% job output, I think I would prefer having a governor over a scientist, as that's probably worth more job efficiency. Of course, the math needs to be done, but that is just an estimate off the top of my head. We are lucky here, so what we've got is we've got a dig site, and if you get minor artifacts, you can finish the build even faster than what I showed earlier, where I had 4 traditions completed at year 13, because minor artifacts can speed that up massively. Because if we take a look at minor artifact things, is first of all, in discoveries, in the collections, you can cash in minor artifacts for a crazy amount of unity that also scales with your unity production. So if we're making 500 unity, or 5 times as much unity, we'd be making 5 times as much from those things, which we're currently giving 900 as a bulk cash out. And later on, we can bulk cash out even crazier amounts. And let me check my capital progress here. I know this is like probably headache inducing having all these tabs blocking everything, but funny mechanics like this are the reason in particular. Whoa, we got a lot of planets around here, so this is a really fun save. I'm glad this was the run I chose to record on. Very, very nice. And yeah, I think that second thing is done now, or second temple. So let's go ahead and get that clicked, and let's go ahead and active. Oh, this doesn't actually cap at 2,000 unity, but I don't want it to disappear. It probably might disappear soon, so we'll go ahead and click. I don't know why it disappears. I don't know if it's their accidental clicks, just after so long you accidentally click it, or the game is programmed to make them disappear after some time. I'm not actually aware of exactly how that works. In the Habitable World Survey, I think we could leave it here for at least the completion of 1 more temple before we're at any risk of it disappearing or anything like that. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and take this first station here. Let's also pull back a science ship and basically get ready to excavate the site as soon as possible. Any minor artifacts are helpful. And our mercantile dip, by the way, is literally just to help us with civilian economy. We're going to swap over to civilian economy now and consumer benefits, and we're basically going to leave this on for the remainder of the early game, as trying to have enough consumer goods is going to be a major struggle for us, especially since we don't really want to make consumer goods on our capital. Instead, we want to make them on, they must be stopped here. So let's get the first colony ship going, and I want to build my first colony on a volcanic world, so it has slightly better habitability, and that can be made into a alloy world later on. And after we finish dipping mercantile, we can go ahead and start finishing prosperity. Yeah, this is like absolutely ridiculous. Just like playing with this pop-up permanently here, it's definitely a bit cluttered. Cluttered, that's probably the right word. Let's take charismatic. Let's take, 100 artisan jobs could help us quite a bit. Plus the extra amount from, that's only for a governor. So we just get 100 jobs. 100 jobs in our capital is not insane. And honestly, archaeology excavation speed is a really nice stat to have. So yeah, let's make sure they're the one excavating the site. And we get 250 minor artifacts. So what we're going to do is we are going to immediately activate these two things. And the reason is there's 1,000 bulk unity gains. So actually, I'm going to activate one, and the other one I'm going to spend to activate the decision on my capital, resources from cremators plus 20%. I actually don't know the math behind this of what button is more worth it to click, because the way the fire dancers work is they already get or cremators, my apologies, work is they already get pretty big bonuses just from lowered habitability. Currently, we're only minus 10%, but as our habitability drops further, from our star expanding, which we're just going to let it expand at maximum speed because that honestly helps us, if anything, we're going to get more and more unity. So that percentage, however, is a little diluted, right? I mentioned this before in my previous fire cult video, right? You don't go from 500% efficient to 600% efficient when you add 20%. You go from 500% to 520% efficiency, which is not the most unity. It's something, but I don't actually know whether it's more worth it to do that or to activate one of these artifact relays or something like that for a lump sum of unity. Like 1400 lump unity is also quite a lot. So yeah, if anybody knows the math on that, please let me know. I'd be very curious. Yeah. All right, I just needed a quick breather. Politician. Oh, we miss any good traits, which kind of sucks. But we're at 262 unity right now, which is genuinely, like, that doesn't look amazing, right? Like, this doesn't look like a build, which is one of the fastest unity rushes in the entire game, but that's kind of why I like it so much. The unity production is kind of dwarfed by the event drops of unity, which I find super, super fun. So basically what our next goal is it's going to be to maximize the unity we get from the subspace triangulation. The completion of this event is the largest drop of unity that I know of in the game. And essentially how it works is upon researching any 3 of these random locations and researching the special projects in the system, upon researching the 3rd one, you're going to be getting a option that will drop you like 4 years of unity or something, like just an insane drop of unity. So we're going to want to be producing at least close to 1,000 unity when we activate that 3rd thing, because otherwise we'd be wasting years and years worth of unity, right? So instead of doing all 3 right away, I like to do 2 of them. That way I'm completely ready to activate the 3rd one whenever that becomes available. The other thing I'm doing is, I've not been keeping up with this very well, is I only want to take 1 colony because otherwise our empire size is going to go up. And in order to take psionics on machine, you need to complete 4 traditions. Wait, I don't remember if that's for Gestalt machine or if individualist machines can take it after 3. Requires mind over matter. 3 other ascension perks to be selected first. Yes, so we need this as the 4th tradition for interdimensional processing, which is why I think it's a good target for such an insane unity rush. Obviously, there's no payoff for it. Like, if I was going to do something like that, you would just do 3 traditions and go virtual or something, right? And then you'd finish earlier and be stronger after finishing it. But I think it would just be funny to spend the most insane unity rush that I've ever seen personally, and then just using that to activate psionics for machines instead of just playing Shroud Forge, which would probably get more unity by then just by existing, or not by, or like be a stronger empire than just by existing, right? But hey, what's the fun in that when you can do some funny, ridiculous stuff and you get to play on funny looking volcano worlds? Although I wonder if you can probably take Shroud Forged and then just play on volcano worlds with like civics or something, or even just by selecting volcano world. I don't know. Anyhow, why not? It's just a fun use of the new it's a fun use of the new civics and a fun use of this origin, which I definitely think I'll be playing in the future just because I think it's cool, and basically not for any other reason, which is really awesome because I don't think that there's been too many origins that really do that for me. I think Shroudforged was a very unique origin that I would definitely see myself playing just because it's fun. But every single like patch or DLC has a bunch of origins which are kind of like roleplay focused, which don't do anything in the game that is unique, like PvP wise or meta wise, that I find particularly enjoyable. So the other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take Consecrated Worlds, and the reason is we don't produce enough Unity without it, and consecrating some worlds, that's why it's so nice to have a lot of planets around here, is going to help us. That's also why we needed so many science ships to go survey. I completely forgot I never killed the event chain that spawned here, which is why I couldn't move my colony ship. So this means my first colony ship is going to be extremely late, but that's okay. It's not the biggest deal in the world, and we'll work around it. What it will mean is on our capital, we can't move the heavy industry or the industry off for kind of longer than I would otherwise do. So normally I would kind of hold off on deleting. I'd start deleting this industry now and moving that industry to my other planets, but obviously I won't be able to do that in this situation. So yeah, we're just gonna have to be patient. And yeah, once this is done researching too, we have to be careful not to research another one and activate the event. What we're gonna do with our star bases is we're gonna build economy on them. Our economy right now is pretty sus, but it's going to get worse, and we should stop buying minerals at this point and start buying a small amount of energy and probably some consumer goods. Yeah, basically, the basic economy is going to really test our ability to balance resources, make sacrifices on certain ones, and not be too greedy, because it's probably going to get pretty rough. So anyhow, let's just continue to take good traditions that we would want anyway in most builds. So discovery is a great one. You want discovery if you can fit it in your tradition tree, right? So we're going to go ahead and take that. Let's see how our planet is doing, right? Yeah, we're just building city districts at this point. And basically the idea behind us building city districts is we want to be able to put more industry. By the way, this zone is very interesting, but the numbers that I've been able to get from it don't seem that worth it. Like 22 Unity for 200 jobs and 5 consumer goods and a token amount of tech does not seem worth it to me. So personally, I don't like building these zones unless I want to build a district specialization on it. And I don't remember exactly what district specializations are on it, but if a archive or something, you know what, we'll build one just to see the specialization zones that come from it. That's probably a bad idea. Let's not deviate off the build path, because I don't believe a spiritualist enclave zone is one of the ones that you can build, but let me look that up to be sure. All right, here I am on another save. Let's turn on instant build over here, and then let's go ahead and find out. So let's build one of these thermotechnic forums, and let's see which district type. Oh, spiritualist enclave is available. Huh, well, I could have played my previous run a lot better, and that is why we live and we learn. Alright, back on our Iron Man world now. Let's go ahead and, I guess, build one of the thermotechnic forums. I don't even know if I'll employ the thermotechnic mentors, but I'm just going to use this as a source of more archive jobs, basically. So, yeah, that's going to be fine. And then, I guess we still need alloys, because we're going to need to build some fleets at some point to deal with another one of the events we get, and the unity we get from that will be worth it. I think we need like 9 or 10 corvettes. If you have blue lasers, you only need like 7 or something like that. I didn't do accurate enough testing to be 100% certain how many corvettes you need to beat the event, but let me show you the ship design. So basically, it'll be some like mining drones that spawn, and in case you're not aware of mining drone ship design, is they're not very good, and they lack any sort of shielding, so lasers are a great choice, and they lack the ability to hit shields themselves, so you just add shields and add lasers, and you can beat them with a pretty inferior fleet to what they have in terms of K numbers, right? You can beat them with like 600 fleet power, or like even maybe 550, where they have like 900 or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. We'll remember when we have to go deal with them. So this is done, but I want to leave this ship over here so it's ready to go. It's a bit of a waste of a science ship, I know, especially when I have as few science ships as I have available, but hey, it is what it is. And yeah, just do keep in mind, like, everything you're seeing with this build, it's been 2 days since the origin has dropped. People will find optimizations, people will find ways to maximize things even farther than what I've done, and I don't think I am the best player in Stellaris, not even close. Just today I played a multiplayer game and got my ass completely handed to me. And see, just like that, I accidentally clicked an event right away, where maybe I could have gotten more Unity from it, but at least it was a smaller Unity drop, so it's probably not the biggest deal to just close the event right away. But hey, was that a perfect option? Probably not. Probably not with perfect gameplay. So yeah, do keep that in mind. I consider myself an above average Stellaris player. At the same time, the gap between me and the best Stellaris players out there is still really, really enormous. You know, what we can do is we can have this ship survey systems over here, right? So even though it's in the vicinity, it's at least doing something. I think that's a good idea. And then over in this area, this is a great little home system, by the way. There are tons of planets in this area, which I love to see. Size 24 desert. Like, this would be all the planets I would want for a normal playthrough, which is awesome. And then in addition, it also has 2 dig sites, absolutely amazing, and large drops of minor artifacts. So I would definitely consider this an above average spawn. Yeah, selling off the minor artifacts for Unity is simply amazing. Look at that, 3,000 from it now. The reason I sold off the first one early is we're going to still need Unity at year 12, and we'll be able to sell it again at year 12, and we'll definitely need it. I think we'll go with the civilian industries here. For our planet, we're literally just going to build a... Yeah, because I've learned that the thermotechnic form can be used as a zone strictly for spiritualist pops, that's perfect, right? That's absolutely perfect. That is exactly what we needed. So yeah, you live and you learn. It's so crazy how many mechanics there are in Stellaris. This is a bit of a side tangent, right? This doesn't need to be in the video, but to know what all the events do, all the niche interactions, and then also to get the macro picture right, you know, picking the right planets for each resource, and min-maxing, navigating your way through the tech tree as fast as possible to both find the best military techs and the best economic techs without doing too many dead rolls, is an insane skill that is unbelievably hard to master. Don't feel bad if you have hundreds, if not thousands of hours, and there you see that players are having 5 or 10 times your economy at certain periods or dates. The game is very, very hard. I've been teaching a new player how to play Stellaris, and it is just simply unbelievably difficult. I'm kind of realizing how much requisite knowledge there is. Like, for example, you'll get hard outscaled by any empire if you don't have an Ecumenopolis type planet and somebody else does. And you're not like a Void Dweller or something that specializes. If you're playing on regular planets, right, and you don't find the Ecumenopolis tech in your first 5 traditions, and somebody else has started their Ecumenopolis at year 35 on like a meta timing, you're going to get outscaled so hard, so quickly. But what do you need to get an Ecumenopolis? You need anti-gravity engineering. You need weather control systems. How can we get those faster? By not opening up your materials tech tree or your engineering tech tree. How do you do that? Well, you can tailor with tech ascendancy. You can just make sure you click weather control systems whenever you see it. There's so much requisite knowledge, however, you just can't expect the average player to know these things. And yeah, I just want to mention that the game is incredibly difficult, so don't feel bad. I probably have 3,000 hours in this game, and I still get hard gapped when I play multiplayer. So, you know, especially now that I play more single player to make more videos, gameplay mechanics that are important for war are definitely fallen off. Like remembering to, even just simple things, right? You need to remember if you're fighting a war, especially if you're inferior to your opponent, which is going to happen if you play in the best lobbies. You need a fortress on every planet so that there you have FTL inhibitors. If you forget, an inferior fleet is going to fly right through your empire. Did you remember to click on your fleets, right, and set a home base? Because if you didn't, they might spawn behind your previous ships and get run down, and you can never repair, and you lose the war instantly. There are so many mechanics like that where if you forget, it's super punishing. Anyhow, I'm going to be back when I'm ready to activate this third beacon whenever I feel like it'll be the right timing to maximize our unity gain. So we're going to basically try to push ourselves up to close to 1,000 unity per month by swapping this to a spiritual enclave, swapping this to a spiritualist enclave, right? This will only give us 100 cremator jobs. So I guess I'll just fill the Technic Forum here with cremator jobs, and then we'll go from there. All right, our planet has expanded one more time with the situation progressing, bringing us down to 50% habitability, and now we're losing a lot of consumer goods because our consumer good job are a little bit less efficient, meaning we're going to move some of our consumer goods duty off to our secondary planet here. This is going to help us quite a bit with the consumer goods issues. And now I think that we're producing 800 unity. I think that's a decent amount. Also, I got deep veins. I can't even afford this next option, so we're just going to settle with one. And this will be a perfect time to not activate synthetic age. I had to withhold all my will to do that because, you know, I'm just used to clicking it. And, you know, I'm just going to leave this perk empty for now. I'm not sure what happens if you don't have another perk available. Anyway, let's research another one of these projects. Let's not get too sidetracked, and then activate the triangulation and get our big unity reward. Also, we're running out of trade. Yeah, we're running out a lot of resources now. One of the reasons is I haven't been quite keeping up and making sure I've been building star bases everywhere that'll help us out. So the next thing we need to do before it's too late is we need to regather all our corvettes. Oh, I never sent them out. Okay, that's convenient. Turns out being lazy pays off here, and we're going to retrofit these as the Niaz class corvette. And since I don't think I have blue lasers, we need 9 or 10 of them. I don't remember exactly how many, so we're just going to make 10, as it should be pretty safe in order to take out the fleet that is going to spawn after we activate the beacon here, or the triangulation, or whatever. So let's go ahead and do that. Also, at this point, you're going to want to start researching the tech to shield your homeworld. Just make sure that you finish this before you actually go supernova. In fairness, we shouldn't get to the supernova. We should be able to prevent that right before it supernovas. I'm not even sure whether you should want the planet to supernova or not. You'll lose some pops. If you're going virtual, maybe that's something you want, because you keep the physics boosts and that kind of thing, and you don't get the permanent habitability cap. So I don't really know how that plays out. So yeah, let me know what you've tried so far and if it's worked or not. I'm curious to know. Anyways, oh yeah, these consumer goods are not looking fantastic. What are we gonna do here? I think we're gonna go with the good old luxury residence here. I think that's probably the play, and then just like another civilian industries or something. I don't really care if we lose roboticists because we're just trying to stay afloat here. And just look at that, it's beautiful. 39,000 unity, amazing. Amazing. Honestly, I probably could have waited longer. That's not the most unity. I think I got 49,000 unity from the event on my practice run because I waited a bit longer. I think I waited till year 13 to activate it, which was probably the play, but I got a little bit impatient and I got a little bit punished. Since I'm playing regular bio, I should be taking statecraft. In my practice run, I was playing as if statecraft was banned because statecraft, well, it is banned for a good chunk of the builds that I play in multiplayer. Yeah, statecraft is banned. How sad is that? I don't know if that's a reflection on multiplayer players being anti-fun Andes or something else, but yeah, or if statecraft is just that broken. But there's other ways to get around it, right? I lost to a guy hiring level 10 leaders, not level 10, but level 9 admirals with the gunboat trait or something, and getting completely owned by that, so that was funny. And the menacing destroyers are also not fun to fight. Anyhow, as you can see, our consumer goods situation is just barely staying afloat. Once we get the luxury residence down, this should improve quite a bit, as the efficiency on that planet is dreadful right now. But yeah, as you can see, we're still making 700 unity, and on top of the 700 unity we're making, I think Screw it. Another thermotechnic form. Don't care. We'll figure out the consumer goods somehow, some way. We don't have enough energy either. Yeah, this is starting to get a bit rough. So yeah, this is what I mentioned before. Yeah, the basic economy situation, you're gonna have to play carefully. Yeah, tread carefully. Okay, we can't afford the thermotechnic mentors. That's clear. The thermotechnic mentors are taking all our resources, so let's disable those. Look at the dreadful efficiency of the artisans on our capital too. This is why I tried to move the artisans onto my other planets in the practice runs. I was definitely right about that in a sense. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, the fact I didn't get the star bases online in time is really biting me in the butt now, and this is why talking and playing at the same time is kind of hard for me. We'll do something very tragic, which is sell some alloys to bail out our economy for now, and that'll give us 5 months to play with, where we can go ahead and hopefully murder the thing in the black hole. That should be nice. And then at the same time, let's build one singular army to deal with that. Oh, and look at that. The luxury residence finished, and my consumer goods are looking beautiful again. Let's go. Awesome. Okay, well, we don't have to hold on for too much longer because we're getting close. We're getting close to being able to complete our 4th tradition tree about the same timing as in my practice run, which is nice. That kind of shows that even with slightly different build paths, we get to the same location at the end of the day. I think we don't even need to buy these 10 consumer goods anymore, which will save our trade, because our trade also somehow needs saving. Oh my gosh, the economy is so bad. It is scaring me. Holy. Anyhow, at least we're still staying afloat. Okay, 600 unity could be better. Wait, why do I only have 600 unity? What happened? The sacrifice togetherness, or... Oh, is it the tech finished? Ah, yeah, the tech finished that is now shielding our capital, reducing our tech a little bit. Don't worry, it'll come back once this gets worse again. That's why I'm not manually trying to reduce the habitability on my capital, because it's bad enough the way things are. And how is my fleet doing? Was the 10 corvettes enough? It looks very close. It looks like we're winning, so I'm going to assume we're winning soon. And that means I'm going to send my army in. And if this fails, I'll be sad. Come on. Come on. There we go. And we want to board the station. We don't want to destroy it. And then we want to send the ship, the transport ship, to go research the special project that appears on this little ship in the system. And then when this thing is done, we're going to be able to start our ascension, which is amazing. And honestly, that's probably where I'll stop playing today, as this is just really kind of the early game. I wanted to show the hyper insane 4 traditions completed on 1.0x Unity at like year 13 is just so hilarious to me. Yeah, I've tried going virtual with this because you can go virtual so fast. I think it's definitely interesting, but to be honest, I didn't think it was that strong. So yeah, just let that be known. So yeah, I guess we'll just take tech ascendancy or something, and then we can go ahead and open interdimensional processing. So if you ever want to rush machine psionics and actually start psionics not too much later than Shroud Forged, here you go. If you wanted to play individuals machine psionics and you needed a way to do it very quickly, here you go. Year 13. Yeah, I guess we'd still need a couple months of Unity. I think our other artifact analysis is coming back up. Yeah, that's another 4,000 Unity, right? And with a couple more like ways to get little bunches of Unity, first contacts can sometimes give Unity, that kind of thing. You could expect to finish the tradition tree for psionics not too long after, also by building the actual things, right? You'll have a good time. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.